Well, hey everybody, it's the Week in the Tackle podcast. Brian Dunseth and I are still on our holidays. I don't tan well, so I've been on holiday in Nottingham. Your holiday was nice, Danny, wasn't it? You went to Cabo and got a lovely little bit of colour there. You look beautiful, I've got to say. Golden,
Thank
like
you.
an Adonis.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I got good color happening over here. Like I'm all over the place. Got my nice little brown. I'm doing some camping trips as well. But see, like I got to get this stuff in. I've got like 2 little mini camping trips from like a Sunday to a Wednesday. Pull the trailer out, head up into the mountains because I've got 12 flights from June 16th to August 2nd. I've got 12 flights in terms of Apple's got me all over. I'm going from New York to Cincinnati to LA to Seattle to San Jose to DC to Orlando. So my miles. What's above diamond on Delta? I need to get there. Whatever that is, I think I'm going to be pretty close this year.
Palladium, platinum,
platinum's below the diamond.
plutonium.
Plutonium.
Yeah, probably not fine if you're on an airline to have a plutonium level.
That's a good point.
Yeah, don't do that. Tim Horsey is our producer. He's the man who's been collating your questions as sent in to Week in the Tackle on Twitter, to our Week in the Tackle YouTube page, to our individual social medias. Brian Dunseth on Instagram, Thomas J. Rennie on Twitter. Tim, what you got for us?
Hey, really quick, Tim, don't say anything. I'm going to cut you off really quick. I see, Tom Rennie, that Tim Horsey has been stealing swag. He's got some swag behind him. I see that Brentford. I see that new Brentford scarf that you got up in the background. You've been 5-finger discounting some swag from SiriusXM FC.
So that is actually not the case.
Okay.
I will say a good friend of mine, shout out Mike Brown. He had a question about the suggestive ducks. I can't say that very easily. That actually didn't get into the program this time, unfortunately. But he is a Brentford fan. So for my birthday, he ended up getting me this scarf that you can see there.
It's weird. Right after we talked to Thomas Frank, all of a sudden somebody's got a Brentford.
Weird.
Swag.
Yeah. And Leon Bailey came on one of the shows, and suddenly he's wearing an Aston Villa shirt, and
got a Jamaica jersey. He's got in the background. Yeah.
We had Marco Silva come on the program, and suddenly he's eating lots of hummus and become very middle class. So
he was great, by the way. What a great conversation with Marco.
Good guy.
Speaking of great conversations,
got any questions, buddy?
Yeah, I got a couple here if we want to get to any of them. This comes from Otis on Twitter. And Tom, I'll start with you. The stupidest thing you ever did to try and get a date?
The stupidest thing I ever did to try and get a date was in a roundabout. So when I lived in Brighton, this would have been about 2004, 2005, maybe. And West Ham were in the Championship at the time. And I'd been to see West Ham play Brighton, and we had Thomas Repka playing for us at the time. I don't know if you remember Thomas Repka. He was a kind of lunatic Czech. He was a centre-half when we bought him, but he was so mad they had to move him right back. And all he did was savage people. And he lasted like 6 months in the Championship season before he was sold. Anyway, I'd been to the game, and then I lived in Brighton. All my friends were sort of going home, kind of the West Ham fans. And I was trying to convince this girl that I was Thomas Repka. So West Ham had played that day, and I was like, oh, yeah. I played today. I played today for West Ham. I come from Czech Republic. I played for West Ham, sounding very much like Boris in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
You know, it's just awful, hammy, sort of Russian accent I'm doing.
More like Boris the Bullet Dodger.
And yes, because he dodges bullets, have he? And the crescendo of this long, drawn-out story is obviously it didn't work, but I told her I was a top-level footballer, and I had a sort of similar buzz cut at the time, right? So no chance if you Googled it, but it was just before smartphones had really good images, so you could just about get away with it.
Like a fake ID, yeah.
Yeah, you could just about swing this. And basically, we went to the bar. She thought I was a professional footballer. So do women who like professional footballers and specifically try and date them, are they interested in their personalities, witty repartee, or their money? And so she went to the bar and ordered a huge round of drinks, champagne, cocktails for her friends, us, my friends. And then she was like, oh, Tom, as in Tom Repka, you play for West Ham, right? And I was like, yes, I play for Hammers. Of course, I love Hammers. And she was like, oh, it's your round then. And the round was like £600.
Oh, no.
And I was like, sure, I pay. It's not
You dipped.
Gone so fast. You would not have seen me for dust. I ran faster in that moment than Thomas Repka did in his entire career. Left them with a 600-pound bill, and I ran all the way to my house on Elm Grove. So that was about maybe a 20-minute sprint. So there you go.
So now when we're in DC, Horsey, we know if there's a Rennie goodbye. We'll just call it a Rennie goodbye from now on. Yeah. When he just dips out the door.
If I say to
no
you,
more Irish.
If I say to you, boys, I get drinks. Don't worry about money.
Gone. God, for me, I think I'll put myself out here. It was a weird one. Miami Fusion days. We had a nice little card. I still have the card somewhere. We had a Hooters card where basically I got everything free except alcohol. It was like 90% off all your food. It was literally says Brian Dunseth Miami Fusion. It was an orange Hooters card. So after practice every day, this is back in the day. This is 2001-ish, 2002, 2001. A bunch of us after training, they didn't give you this is old school MLS, okay? So there was no food. You ate before you went to practice. There were no protein shakes. There was no cafeteria meals. There were not customized food for you, plates. It's completely different than what it is now. So we'd pop over, everyone would shower quickly, be starving, chugging Gatorades, Powerades, whatever, chocolate milks to get something in our body. And then we'd drive to Hooters on the beach. We'd post up at Hooters for hours. And you can actually eat quite healthy at Hooters.
What?
Yeah, no, it's true. You can avoid most of the really not great food, and you could eat somewhat healthy. We just get chicken sandwiches plain, and you could do okay. But there was this girl there. She was gorgeous. Tom, when I tell you, specta, she was specta.
Was she an orange top because they don't like this?
She was a waitress at Hooters.
There we go.
And she was beautiful. And it was love at first sight or lust at first sight, whatever. I was just fully just dialed in on this girl. And every time we went there, I never had the guts to say anything. I didn't but we made contact. We did the eye thing a couple times. And it got to the point where I was so transfixed on this beautiful woman. I wrote her a note, little pen, little paper, wrote her a note, wrote her a night. And it was it was not creepy obsessive, but
no, it doesn't sound like it.
You are the most beautiful woman I've ever set my eyes on.
No. Not creepy. Nope.
And I left the note in the bill when I paid it one time and walked out.
Oh no.
Yeah, it didn't work. Work. No, never worked.
She probably had a penny. She had a penny full of about 400 of them, to be fair.
Yeah, it didn't work. So yeah, my
Did you go back to Hooters after that?
I went back. Man, I went
Loads
back,
times.
dusted it off. You got to pick the bat up, man. You got to take a swing if you want to hit a home run. So that was my thing. I might have foul tipped it. I don't know. That's a baseball reference for you,
right?
I might have struck out wildly. I don't know. Right. It might have hit the dirt, and I was running to first, and he still threw me out. Another baseball reference that you're not aware of.
Not a clue.
I tried, and I still pridefully had to show up. Kind of sucked the first couple of times, but then afterwards we still acknowledged each other. It was still cool, but yeah, saw her at the nightclub one time. Even tripled down how much I was infatuated with this young lady, but nothing ever happened. Yeah, nothing ever happened.
I mean, if you want to feel better about yourself all these years later, maybe she couldn't read.
I don't even know how to pick up after that. All right, I'm just gonna move on. Just move on like nothing happened.
Moving on.
All right, back to you here, Dunny, to start. This comes from Warren, one of our frequent tweeters here at Week.
He can read. Yeah,
he can read. He said, "You have a football-specific time machine. What event are you going to, or what football-specific event, I should say, are you going to change the outcome of?"
Oh, personally or as a fan?
Take it how you want. Take it how you want.
Yeah, this one's easy. It's this game right here. This game. If I could go back, this was the bronze medal match in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia. And there's a moment, and it was actually Andres Cantor was calling the tournament in English. He's got the incredible iconic goal call here in the United States. Actually, I was just talking about this with him in Phoenix at the US-Mexico game. We were reminiscing because the analyst was Alexi Lawless.
Oh,
It was the first time Alexi Lawless was a television soccer analyst. So it was Andres Cantor doing English, Alexi Lawless doing English, and I still have the call. Somebody sent it to me. I hit the crossbar in the post. The game was 0-0. Bam Bam Zamorano, Chile against the United States. Ball comes over on a corner, and I hit it. Takes a bounce, and I hit it left foot, and it hit the far post, or hit the crossbar, pinged off the post, and they basically went down and scored on the other end in kind of the same play. If I could change that, that would be the moment, because it would have had a medal. I would have had a bronze medal. I mean, I know it's still like not a gold medal, not a silver medal, but it was that moment where it was like something so close and like so iconic that I personally could have had. That would have been, yeah, the moment that as an individual that I could have gone back. That one, and the only one in MLS was Columbus Crew, New England Revolution. It was for a spot in the MLS Cup final. All we needed to do was, I think, draw the game, and it was a corner that ended up going in. Miami Fusion, kind of similar situation. We would have gone to an MLS Cup final. So I came up short. And I'm basically, outside of my Giorgio mug, I'm just a runner-up, perennial runner-up to everything. But yeah, those are the soccer moments for me that I would have been like, oh, that would have been pretty cool, selfishly, to have a medal.
Mine aren't personal, obviously, but in terms of a playing career, and I usually at this point, when a similar question comes up, I talk about the 2006 FA Cup final. However, I'm not going to do that now because I'm not going to do it because we won something the other week, and it actually has changed. It genuinely has changed everything. Like when I sort of play squash or whatever, I being a West Ham fan is sort of it's in my psyche that I'm going to fucking lose this somehow. Sorry, Tim. And I think a lot of fans can relate to that. And I always get beaten at squash by my friend who's a Chelsea fan. I used to thrash him in 1998. But these days, to be fair, he's a lot fitter than me. So I'm not going to say that anymore because I feel like I can maybe let that go a bit now, which is weird. I probably won't moving forward, but for the moment, I'm letting it go. What I would change is a couple of things about the European Championship final for England against Italy. And there's two things I'd change. One is about football, one is not. One is 3:00 kickoff. We did the show the day afterwards, and the nation, a lot of people didn't, but a very significant proportion of English supporters and people on English soil, they collectively, post-COVID, sunny day, in a final at Wembley, lost their freaking minds, and not in a positive way. And as I mentioned in the show, you can go back and listen again on the kind of log of these shows. What I saw in kind of Soho and Trafalgar Square and Leicester Square that day, I can kick it with the best of people, but it had gone wrong. It had taken a turn, right? So that was all awful. So I'd make it a 3:00 kickoff. It's why when there's a big derby or something, they make the games early so people don't get too drunk and kind of whatever ruin the day. And the second thing is, obviously, I'd let us win it. Bukayo Saka is going to go on to hopefully be one of the best players in English football history in the next decade. He missed the penalty and they lost the game. England deserved to win the game, deserved to win the tournament. And a bit like the Conference League for my club team recently, winning something like that, it really does change a lot psychologically for a nation. It would have been a huge thing for England. And I'm sure they enjoyed it in Italy, whatever. They came in, stole a tournament and left. But they had the World Cup, of 06 and plenty of other success to kind of build their football culture on. So I don't know. I'd have changed that. Because if it would have been earlier in the day, we wouldn't have had the chaos. And if Saka had scored, and there've been more penalties after that, I know, it would have changed a lot of things about English football. So I'd have changed that. Right, those are our questions for this particular episode of Question Time. Thank you very much indeed for sending them in. Keep sending them in to our various social media platforms. Stay subscribed to Week in the Tackle, and there's more Question Time shows to follow this next week. That's Brian Dunseth. I'm Tom Rennie. Tim Horsey produced the show.